The Bundesliga is the most profitable league in football. How did you accomplish that?
Well, first of all, I think it's part of the German mentality only to spend what you have, and that helps, of course. On the other hand side, we have well-known and as one of the best licensing systems, recognized licensing systems of the world. We have a licensing system where each club has to prove that he can afford to play a league season, and those two things, the licensing system on the one hand side, but also the German mentality on the other hand side, helps, of course, to get to this goal.
The Bundesliga has the highest match attendance in Europe. How did you achieve that?
Most of all because the games are attractive. Because a former national coach of the German team in 1954, who won the World Cup, said, "You know why people go to the stadium? Because they don't know how it ends." And the Bundesliga is the most unpredictable league, where a lot of decisions are made at the end of the season, and each team can beat each other. So this, of course, makes the game attractive. On the other hand side, we have, since the World Cup 2006, the most modern stadium infrastructure, and we have, relatively to other leagues, very low ticket prices, which makes it affordable. And a lot of clubs stop their season ticket sale so that families, fans, kids can see the team during one season. And if you add all that factors, that maybe is the explanation for our high match attendance.
It's very interesting to know that the majority of clubs are owned by the fans. Why is that, and what are the advantages of that ownership?
In Germany, it's forbidden to own more than 50% from a club. We have the rule in the statutes of the league that 50 plus one vote has to be owned by the origin organization who founds that club. So you can say by the fans. This rule is in Germany forever. A lot of people say right now it is an advantage. A few months or a few years ago, people said that it's a disadvantage because we don't get money and we don't get investors and whatever. Right now, people see it as an advantage. Maybe someday the times will change again and we see again that this is a disadvantage. Today we can say that 35 from the 36 clubs of Bundesliga 1 and 2, they said we want to go on with that rule that it's not allowed to buy clubs. Therefore you make sure that the club stays with his roots in the area or in the city where it comes from. And maybe this is also one part of the success of the Bundesliga.
During the World Cup, we all admired the multiculturalism of the national team. Do you think that this is the future for German football and for European football?
Well, the national team of Germany today reflects the society of Germany. It's a multicultural society where people come to, where people live here, where people love to be here, and the national team, as you see that way, is pretty much different compared to former days. In 1998, all players played for Germany had German parents. Right now we have a lot of players with migration backgrounds. Nevertheless, they play for Germany and they play it very well. This will not change anymore in the future because the German society will not change anymore. So the German national team is right now proof of success, hopefully, for the German national model.
The youth of the national team impressed the world during the World Cup. Can you speak about your youth program and why it has been so successful?
The national team today is, with less than 25 years, the youngest team ever played for Germany a World Cup. And as far as I'm informed, also the youngest team in the whole World Cup in 2010. In 2002, 2003, for the first time, running a youth academy became an obligation for a club if you want to play Bundesliga 1 or Bundesliga 2. Since then, more than €500 million was invested by the clubs of Bundesliga 1 and 2. And right now, if you see players like Neuer, Khedira or Özil, they are 20, 21, 22 years old. And if you look back a little bit, then this is the first generation, you can say, which started in that youth academies and going through all that levels. In these youth academies, you have to have a certain number of teams, you have to have a certain number of coaches which are educated, which have a coaching license. And it started with teams under 12. This is the first team you have to run if you run a youth academy. And all these players go to these under 12, under 13, under 14 teams. And for that reason, the Bundesliga and the managers who run these academies can be very proud of, on the one hand side, and on the other hand side, we can really looking forward because some other players will follow in the next years.
Unlike EPL, La Liga and Serie A, Bundesliga only has one internationally recognized team, Bayern München. Why is that, and how can you change this?
Well, first of all, Bayern Munich has done a great job. They recognized much earlier than others that it's important to establish the brand outside Germany. In each decade, no matter if it was the 70s, the 80s, 90s, or then the year 2000, we had some other teams, like in the 70s, for instance, Borussia Mönchengladbach, or in the 80s, it was Cologne. And all of them had great players and great teams, but no one treated it in a way like Bayern Munich has done. It is a disadvantage for the Bundesliga that we do not have the big two or big three like the other leagues you mentioned. But on the other hand side, especially in the last years, teams like Werder Bremen or Schalke 04, they made it in a better way. But what you talk about is really one way to improve the global presence of the Bundesliga, to show the world that we have more than only one team, beside the fact that, of course, Bayern Munich is the greatest one in Germany.
Despite your outstanding performances during the World Cup, the strength of your business model, the youth of your team, you still have to achieve the international recognition of the EPL, La Liga and Serie A. Why do you think there is this difference, and what you can do to change it?
Well, first of all, that reflects a little bit your first question. As you may know, the Bundesliga is the league with the lowest amount of debt, and a lot of when you talk about the leagues, then you talk in fact about maybe 10 or 12 clubs out of these leagues who made that impression and who made that image worldwide. And if you looked at the debt level of these teams, then you can have the feeling that worldwide recognition and worldwide awareness correlates a little bit with the willingness of made a lot of debt. And as I said, that's not so much in the German mentality. And it's not so much in the German culture, let's say, to pay 100 million for one player. A lot of these teams are investing a lot of money for single players. Some of them are financed just by debt. And of course, as I said, this is not so much the German business model. Therefore, the World Cup, in my opinion, is a very, very good platform to show that the Bundesliga hasn't to hide from the other leagues. We were the league with the second most players in the World Cup from the very beginning. 78 players came out of the Bundesliga. 23 of them were the Germans, 55 were others. In the semifinals and in the quarterfinals, the Bundesliga is the league with the most players at the World Cup. So hopefully that platform helps a little bit for the fans all over the world to change their mind about the Bundesliga.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.